As we walked around the city of Kathmandu in the period following the monsoons in early October, we were occasionally douched by diminishing rains, sudden afternoon thunderstorms, and we wandered through the festival streets, by monasteries, and later back at our hotel for a chai masala tea. We began to sink into the experience of being in Nepal. After more than a week of sightseeing and preparations in Kathmandu, we'd assembled enough cash, found a company from whom we could hire a guide and porter, and invited the third member of our group to join us, someone we had met at the Swiss-run hotel. We embarked on a 6-hour jeep ride on paved and later dirt track into the foothills of the Himalaya, northwest of the capital, in the province of Ghorka, where we began our trek of 36 days of about 250 miles on the Manaslu and Annapurna circuits. Our guide and porter checked us in at the first official registration point, a safety requirement that's come into being with increased numbers of trekkers and concern for safety. We found our way for this abbreviated day of trekking to our first guest house, basically a crude hotel with beds and meals served in the town of Aryugat. The next morning, we were out after a hearty breakfast and started on the first full day of trekking. It's October 10th. The valley is steeply sided. We're at an elevation of around 500 meters, 1,700 feet, much lower than Kathmandu, the capital, at 1,300 meters, or 4,200 feet. The vegetation is thick. In the lower reaches where we walk, it is a jungle. There are banana trees and crops like rice. We are walking a road, sometimes dusty, at others still muddy from the monsoons, when the road becomes impassable, except on foot. At Sotikola, simply a humble village without electricity, no real running water, we reach our guest house by early afternoon. It's around 30 degrees, high 80s, and we elect to swim in the Sotikola pool instead of take the cold shower provided. Bridges vary in length and type. The longest are swing bridges, mostly newly built by government and some by private funding from the 80s. When we traverse the main river, the Buri Gandaki, it's a roaring, enormous torrent, but also the side streams issuing from far above the hills. We can't even see the sources. Villagers are shy, I dare say authentic in this valley, strongly influenced by Tibetan customs and religion. The Gurung are the people here whose ancestors crossed over from Tibet about 500 years ago. The rice grows high, up to 800 meters. It's a primary staple. And other than porters, pack mules are the primary means of transport. The road in this valley reaches its end just after Sotikola, our third day. The trail uses steps adapted to the animals, and anyway, they are impressively agile with a load of up to 50 or 40 kilo. We mingle with larger groups. Those camping use large numbers of porters and mules for carrying equipment and food. We are constantly encountering porters, young and old, who seem to be performing superhuman feats Few speak English, so we can only gesture with a smile or a thumbs up. At Doba, we stop at our guest house. It's charmingly small. Its rooms are housed in a long, narrow building. Windows have no screens since there are no biting insects at this elevation. Our elevation has just breached 1,000 meters, 3,300 feet, during today's walk. And also it was a short day with only about 4 hours of very slow-paced walking. Before lunch, where our porter helps in the kitchen, they are overloaded with diners, we enjoy the heat of another warm day in the high 80s and find a small pool to bathe in. Though we bathe clothed, we are closely watched by 2 village women who have been doing their laundry. The perfect weather, typical of the season, shows signs of change. Another short day is made to reach Jagat, which brings us into the Manaslu Conservation Area. The zone has controlled access, requiring a certified guide, ours is Dawa, and limits daily numbers. Permits are obtained in Kathmandu before departing by the guide. At 1,300 meters now, the cloudy skies bring thankful relief from the heat. Larger groups previously encountered have gone further today. Jagat, an administrative center, is neat and deserted. Group dynamics are a key element in an undertaking such as this. Manuela, our trekking companion, is a gem. This day would test the mettle enough to know. Dawa announces matter-of-factly that rain is expected today. We don rain gear from the start. Climbing and distance for the day are significant, with 7 hours and 600 meters. By late morning, rain is torrential. Rockfall becomes a major concern where the trail is bordered by cliffs and steep forests. We encounter fresh debris and shortly stop at a new tea house. We are all drenched and shiver until getting into bed after dinner. Our first week behind us, and our pace is strong. The forest of larch and pine, and we're surrounded by a greater remoteness. There is evidence, and we hear news through our portering guide. The storm has been exceptionally severe. There's rumor of deaths. In the pass, Lark Gila is closed with a meter of wet snow fallen. But that's days away for us, and we have our work each day. Our porter's experience allows him to say the snow stabilizes in 4 days. We have 7. We arrive in Sama at 3,500 meters, 11,500 feet, for 2 days of rest. One for total rest and laundry. The second, an active rest day with a walk up to Barindra Lake. It's at the foot of Manaslu, the 8th highest mountain in the world, at 8,160 meters, 26,800 feet. We can visit a Buddhist monastery, and we pass each mani wall and spin the prayer wheels, saying Om Mani Padme Um. We repeat for luck and greater protection. It's at Sama, during rest days, that we learn of the international incident caused by the storm. Helicopters appear as they carry trekkers, unable to return by foot for their plane departures. The pass had been blocked. At Samdo, we nudge up against 4,000 meters elevation, the testing zone for our acclimatization. It's day 12. At the final camp, Dharamsala and the stone huts, the high point remains before us. Underway before dawn at 5, we are slow. It seems impossibly slow. The way follows a deep trench from prior days' passage of other trekkers. We do complete the endless open fields and morainal ridges to breach Larkyala Pass at 5,200 meters, 17,000 feet. It's been 2 weeks when we enter this other world, the veritable other side of the mountain, and of an extraordinary experience of elevation, scenery, and companionship. We descend and by evening are safely in a homey tea house in Bintang. Fatigue and doubt become relief and contentment, fruits of good fortune. The weather stays fine, typical of the autumn season. A sense of celebration and feeling of relaxation settles on us. Effects of the experience and the thickening air. We descend for 2 more days into the valley of the Marsyangdi River. Our steps bring us to Dharapani, for the formalities of registering for the next stage of the trek.